Hello and good day, adventurers. Today I'm going to be talking about another gauntlet, the second gauntlet of the series of 13. This is the Gauntlet of Burning Faith. This gauntlet is going to revolve around essentially being the fiery vengeance of your deity. If you do not worship a deity in the game, then you have you develop a connection to Saranre. And that's mostly on the roleplay side of things. It's completely up to your GM how much he has that implement the effects of the gauntlet. But I've always seen this gauntlet as about being the fiery vengeance of a deity. Essentially, the idea that you are this tool of vengeance for your god, or at least that's the idea of where your power is coming from. Your powers come from being yeah. So. Without further ado, I think we should get right into the gauntlet, shall we? Let's make big me disappear, little me appear, and then let's make the window appear. And here we go, we have the Gauntlet of Burning Faith. When you put this gauntlet on, it starts to burn like fresh metal out of the forge and even encase the arm in fire, melding itself to the host. Again, going on my previous style where it increases by pain. Essentially, it melds to your body in some way, and it is some form of pain is implemented or affected in you when you first put it on. So level 1, we have Hand of Judgment. Weapons wielded in the same hand as the gauntlet gains the Flaming Special Ability. Just as a recap, in case you don't remember what the Flaming Special Ability is, it's an additional d6 of fire damage on all your attacks. And I do say the gauntlet hand because just in case you roleplay, whether you're right-handed or left-handed in the game, this essentially will have an effect there. So if you do roleplay that kind of stuff, that's something to consider, because then it's your offhand if you happen to be left-handed, because all the gauntlets are right-handed. Well, all but one of the gauntlets are right-handed. One gauntlet is left-handed. And so, and there's a reason for that. Don't worry if you do end up role-playing left-handed, right-handed, and that is a rule that your GM likes to keep track of. It does eventually give some bonuses to the left hand. So level 2 bonus is +1 to your wisdom score. I know wisdom score is not a huge deal for a lot of combat characters, but it is pretty good. It does end up eventually giving you more bonuses to your willpower, which is really good for all characters to have. Gives you bonuses to skills like perception, which is again another good thing for all characters to have. Level 3, you get a +1 to fortitude, reflex, and will saves. This is a pretty huge deal. This is like getting the halfling luck bonus essentially, except the bonus type here, I didn't mention it, but if I had to, I'd say that it would be divine. A divine bonus, I think is what that bonus type is called. I could be wrong. If not, I'd leave it up to your GM to decide what kind of bonus that is. Next is level 4, your wisdom bonus increases to a +2. Again, the wisdom is going to be a huge thing for all characters in my opinion. I thought it was a nice little bonus, but again, the ideal character or class for this gauntlet, because every gauntlet is kind of designed for an ideal class, and the ideal class for this gauntlet is some more of the divine characters like the paladin, or the Inquisitor, but again, anybody can end up wielding this gauntlet and gaining an immense amount of power. It's going to have some really cool effects for roleplay later on. Level 5, you get Aura of Justice. As a swift action, you may surround yourself in fire as the spell Fire Shield once per day for every 2 levels you possess. Caster level equals character level. So Fire Shield is a spell that essentially engulfs you in fire, dealing fire damage to people that I think get into melee range with you, or people that attack you, one of the two, if not both. And so this is a really cool effect because early on it's a really cool roleplay effect because you can essentially encase yourself in fire as a swift action, and you can essentially show off that you are this character of vengeance or character of holy might because you have this holy fire that is encasing your body. and it's something that you're able just to call upon to be a part of you. People can end up claiming that it's magic, but you can say that there was no incantations or anything like that, and that if I was strong enough to cast these spells without incantations, then obviously I'd be capable of much more, and I should be feared anyways. Level 6, you get a +1 to your charisma modifier. I understand for a lot of offensive characters this will be seen as a dead stat. I feel like the Gauntlet more than makes up for it in other ways, just in case you are one of the players that finds charisma a dead stat. In my opinion, I think charisma is always a very useful stat. It's always going to be a really good stat, because being able to get a little bit more push in your persuasion, your intimidation, and your lying, your bluffing, it's pretty nice. Level 7, your fortitude, reflex, and will save increases to a +2, so again, that's increasing your saves are getting better. At level 8, your charisma bonus bumps up to a +2, so now you have a solid +1 to those skills that you're using. Level 9, you get righteous rage as an ability. As a swift action, you may unleash an explosion from your body as the spell Fireball once per day for every 2 levels you possess. Caster level equals character level. Now, I do need to stress that this is an ability, not a spell, so you can't get feats that affect this. So you have to be really, really careful when you're using this ability. If you're very close, if you're within 20 feet of your allies, you're going to hit your allies. So you don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you are surrounded by enemies when you do this, and that your allies are in a safe distance, or your allies are more than willing to take the damage for you using this. But this is a really cool ability. If you are a backline character, this is something to give your opponents to think about. Do they want to get in melee with you anymore, now seeing that you were able to admit this? Not only was the aura of fire freaking dangerous for you if you're a ranged character, making people think twice about wanting to attack you, but now you can explode fire from your body, doing massive amounts of damage. Something to think about for those characters willing to get in melee combat with you. But then if you are the melee character, this is a nice little surprise that you can throw into combat, allowing you to essentially rush just right in the middle of the enemies, get them all gathered around you, and then you just unleash a fireball effect, essentially doing massive amounts of damage and bringing down peons and all that sorts of things. You essentially get to clean up the combat a little better. Levels 10, you get a +1 to your Constitution modifier. Who doesn't need more Constitution? Constitution equals health. Level 11, your Fortitude, Reflex, and Will saves increases to a +3. Pretty big bonus. Level 12, your Constitution score increases to a +2. This is now in case your stat was an even stat. Now you get a solid +1 hit point per character level. And also another +1 to your Fortitude saves. Level 13, Hand of Judgment changes. When weapons in the offhand now gain the Flaming special ability, and weapons in your Gauntlet hand now gain the Flaming Burst special ability. These abilities stack when using two-handed weapons. So Flaming Burst, if you remember right, Flaming Burst is a d6 of additional fire damage to all of your attacks, and then if you crit, you do an additional d10 of fire damage. And then what I mean by these abilities stack when using two-handed weapons is that if you use a two-handed weapon, you put both hands on the weapon, you will get the d6 from your flaming, and the d6 from your Flaming Burst, and the d10 from your Flaming Burst crit. So this is a really powerful effect. It's giving you immense amount of extra damage. If you are a dual wielder, it's really good that way because you're getting extra d6 on all your attacks. If you're a two-handed character, or if you're just wielding a normal one-handed weapon that has the capability to go two-handed, you should probably do that just to be able to get that additional d6 of damage on your attacks. Level 14, you get a +1 to your Strength modifier. This is pretty important for the melee characters and the frontline fighters. Being able to improve your strength is always a good thing. Level 15, the Fortitude, Reflex, and Will save increases to a +4. Level 16, your strength score increases to a +2, so now that's a whole +1 to your base attack bonus, essentially, and your melee attacks. It is a really powerful, a nice, really powerful effect to get on your frontline characters. If you're a ranged character, I can understand that strength might not be the ideal effect or ideal bonus for you to have, but it doesn't hurt to be able to carry more stuff if your GM role plays carry weight and keeps track of that rule, then you're at least able to carry more things on you. If not, strength is just a nice little fun thing, and hopefully if you're a range character, you're benefiting from the charisma at the very least. If you aren't, then sadly that's 2 dead stats, strength and charisma, to you as a range character. Especially if you're a spellcaster character, you're probably not using strength, but hopefully if you're a spellcaster, you're using charisma. So hopefully you don't. I'm hoping that nobody using this gauntlet finds 2 of these stat bonuses dead. Otherwise, level 17, weapons in the offhand gain the Flaming Burst special ability. This stacks, so essentially now you have 1d6 fire damage on both your offhand and your main hand, 2d6s if you dual wield, and then you also have a d10 on when you crit with your main hand or your offhand, or 2d10 if you crit with a two-handed melee weapon. Level 18, or not melee weapon, but a two-handed weapon. So that includes range weapons. Level 18 is a huge bonus to the gauntlet, a huge effect. Your strength bonus increases to a 4, your con, your wisdom, your charisma all increases to a 4, your fortitude, reflex, and will saves increases to a +6. So this is a huge deal because essentially your constitution is your fortitude saves, your wisdom is your will saves. They just got a huge bonus, and then of course being able to bonus the fortitude, reflex, and will saves themselves. The only thing you're not getting a bonus from, a significant bonus from with this gauntlet is, compared to the other two, is reflex, giving yourself a little bit of a weakness. Essentially AoE effects are a little bit more effective on this character than constitution or will save like effects. But you also have a lot of strength and a lot of charisma now to be able to either use your melee weapons more effectively, carry more effectively, or to be able to roleplay off your lies or your diplomacy or your intimidation a little bit more effectively. And being able to engulf yourself in fire and launch fire from your body is going to help out with roleplay effects, being able to justify the fact that you are this righteous being of your god and that you are a dangerous aspect and a tool of vengeance for your deity. Level 19, you get Divine Embrace. Whenever you enter battle, the sky starts to ignite into a raging storm of fire and lightning, raining down fire down on your enemies as the spell Firestorm caster level equals character level. Again, this is centered on you, and that it is this huge effect. Now, this is beneficial in numerous ways. If you end up getting separated from your party and you end up getting into combat, your party can probably find you by the fact that a storm has just appeared, a storm of fire has just appeared in the distance. This is pretty beneficial when you're out and about. When you're down below, the storm does not affect you where you are. The storm will happen above you. Again, can signify where you are. But then this is a huge roleplay effect in the fact that essentially essentially the storms and the nature itself rages with you in battle, being a kind of like signifying your god. Essentially the entire sky darkens with fire and rages with you in battle is a huge thing. Last, level 20, you get Holy Fire, and that is all fire damage done by this character. That means all the abilities that you gain from the Gauntlet, the Flaming Burst abilities, the Righteous Rage, Divine Embrace, the Aura of Justice, those, plus any spells or other abilities that you manage to get your hands on from different weapons and items. Any fire whatsoever from this character is considered both fire and holy for the purpose of bypassing immunities and resistances. This is a huge effect. So beforehand, up till this point, up to level 20, up to level 19 I should say, you were an extremely effective fire character, but you were essentially weakened to the fact that a fire elemental or a red dragon or anything like that could take you on and just not be affected by any of your stuff. Well, now, especially even demons, now you are considered fire and holy for the purpose of bypassing immunities and resistances. So now your fire can bypass those things because it's considered holy damage just as well as fire damage. And this also, again, gives off the really cool roleplay effect that you are a tool of vengeance from your deity, because you are not just fire, you are holy fire. You are a divine character. You are a divine power, a divine tool. And one thing to roleplay with this gauntlet that I didn't mention is that with this gauntlet, your GM, or if you are the GM, I stress that you should roleplay the fact that you are building a bond with their deity if they have one, and if they don't have one, that they're starting to build a relationship with Saranre. Whether they want it to or not, don't force it on them, but have things happen where they feel that they're being watched by Saranre or their deity, or they're being guided. Like, have things happen, have creatures of those deities. If you've read up on the books of the different divine gods, have creatures appear, have symbols, signs, stuff like that. Kind of role play a religious effect upon the character happening to them, and guiding them to do certain things. Maybe even find a way of their followers happening to appear all over the place, maybe needing help, and so on and so forth. It's a nice little thing to role play. You don't have to. If you just want to use the gauntlets for its stats, they're there for that as well. But if you want to, I recommend role playing that kind of stuff. It makes the gauntlet more entertaining, more fun. And then also I added as the ending description, the gauntlet melts off your arm, healing back to normal as you become a conduit of your deity, gaining a strong aura emanating from your body. So yeah, this is the Gauntlet of Burning Faith. It is really powerful. It's a lot of fire effects, and by the time you reach level 20, those fire effects end up becoming useful no matter what you're fighting. And so if you're the GM for this gauntlet and you're finding a hard time dealing with this character, one thing to take note of is high reflex saves is one way to get around them, because they don't have as high a dex save as they do their constitution and their will. Their constitution and will saves are extremely high. If you want to make them feel strong, throw those at them. Throw them con saves and will saves. Let them make them, because they're going to have these huge bonuses of at least at level by level 18 they're going to have a +8 to both those saves, with just a +6 to their reflex. The reflex save is still really strong, really powerful, but you have a better shot at doing reflex if you want to, so do strong reflex saves if you want them to feel more vulnerable. Also being able to hit them in general, because they don't have a high dexterity bonus, unless their character had a high dexterity bonus to begin with. They're going to be easy to deal with that way. Taking them on by range is another way to make them feel vulnerable, because they have the Aura of Justice, which makes them feel powerful against melee characters. They have the Righteous Rage, which makes them feel powerful against melee characters. And Divine Embrace is essentially their only range ability on this gauntlet, and it's not even guaranteed. It's the Firestorm. The Firestorm's kind of, if I remember right, a little bit random. There's no way of maybe it directly hits targets that you want. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've looked at the Firestorm spell. I probably should have looked at it before this video. I apologize. But yeah, if you want to make them feel vulnerable, attack them with range, attack them with reflex save abilities, and then attack them with fire resistant characters up to level 20. Level 20, people are supposed to feel like a god. If you want to make them feel vulnerable, have them anger some sort of deity, in which case you send after them certain archons or angels that are both fire resistant and holy resistant, because then the fire is not effective, and that's how you deal with them that way. But it's a very tricky thing to do. Your characters had to have either tricked them into essentially slighting a god or something like that, or give them a reason to slight a god, or slight a divine being of some sort, and essentially bring those types of characters after them. But yeah, otherwise, level 20, they're meant to feel powerful, so they have holy fire that make them feel powerful, and they have all these really cool abilities. And I hope that you guys are enjoying my gauntlets. They're really cool. I've worked on them a lot over the years, and they're not 100% thought out. As we saw, I don't have what these bonuses types are called. As of for right now, the Fortitude, Reflex, and Will saves, you can call them divine bonuses. I think that's what one of the types that you can get is called. Otherwise, I'd leave it up to your GM to decide what type of bonuses they are. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed the gauntlet, and I hope that you guys tune in for my next videos. I've got more videos coming out the rest of this month. Do try to check in with my streams if you want to see me play games. I'm not an expert, but I'm giving my best shot. Right now I'm playing on Tuesdays, I'm playing XCOM. On Thursdays, I'm playing State of Decay, but that might change soon to essentially, what's it called? Is Mech Warriors 5 Clans. And you can tune in on Saturdays to watch me play DBZ Kakarot, which is a fighting game that's heavily story based. So there's a lot of cutscenes, and I'm kind of talking about the show. And if you want to just join me for any of these, go ahead and do so. Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you in the next one. And otherwise, have a safe adventure.